found my knife. Okay. So, wow, how are we? How's life? How are things? Substackers, Substackians, Substication? That's not a Substackers. How are we? How's things? It's been a busy couple weeks, right? A couple things going on, a lot of things going on. Got a stack of books / Kickstarter rewards to unbox. No, Jay, I still don't have my copy of Morsels yet. I don't know how it got lost. So appreciate you resending the package to me via media mail because USPS sucks. That's the story. I'm like glowing. Look, Mom, I'm glowing. I've got Substackitarians. Mayhaps. I kind of like that. I, along with stupid long words, I'm drinking a Truthadelic, which is an Imperial Hazy from a local brewery here in Cincinnati. So, cheers, friends. Enjoy the wall. All right. Let's see. This past weekend was Easter. There was no stream because Easter. 2 weekends ago, I was up at Space, the small press alternative comics expo in Columbus, Ohio. Technically Hilliard, Ohio. But we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to debrief that since I didn't write a thing. I'm just going to talk about it here because I have thoughts. I have emotions and feelings. It's my first time tabling as a creator at an event. I paid for a table to sell my stuff. And I sold some stuff. And turns out I had expectations for how much stuff I was going to sell. And I did not sell that much stuff. So that was my wrestle. You know, I was wrestling, I was grappling, had the good old collar and elbow tie up with Space and my emotions. And let's just debrief that because we're already preambling into it. So I went to it last year as an attender and met a bunch of cool people, including Alex Clark, who does the artwork for my short story in the CHK Presents Aha horror anthology, currently running on Kickstarter. We're 87% funded, I think, which is outstanding. We have 93 backers. We just today, as of whatever the date is, April 8th, about 9 hours ago from the time of this stream, released a bunch of original art. We had 2 different artists say, hey, you can take my sequential pages and put them up as add-ons. And we also have one of the front covers from Travis James, which is cover A! Exclamation mark. If you want to own that original piece, that is up for grabs. If you want to own the original back cover done by our very own Chris Mendoza, you can pick up that. You can pick up a spot graphic of Roger, like character study type stuff. That is available. There's a total of, the spot graphic, the back cover, cover, and then 9 interior pages. So that's like 11, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. That's 12 pages of original art that you can add to your physical pledge for AHA, and that would help us immensely. Plus, with all of the pages that we're selling, if you buy one of those from an artist, we are making sure that the majority of the money that you spend for that page goes right back to the creator. And then we're just using a small cut of it to go towards the actual production of the book. Because that's what we need to do. We need to produce the book. Because we don't have money just sitting around haphazardly. Otherwise, we wouldn't need to do Kickstarters. But we do, because we don't have money. So thanks for pledging and for backing, and for all 93 backers. We appreciate you. As we enter this 3rd week, we just wrapped, as of like an hour and a half ago, we just officially ended week 2. And to have 93 backers in the first 2 weeks, stellar. Super excited. And it's only going to go up from here. I got some more things that I'm planning to do, including uh, my I made a variant cover for the book. It's fake, yeah, but I made it. It's real, but it's fake. It'll make sense. It is called the Scary Larry cover, and that's going to drop this weekend. So you'll get to see all about that. So stay tuned for a video talking about the Scary Larry cover. And then, yeah, it's just all, it's a lot of good stuff. The deadline for all of our creators is April 15th. So we should have final pages fully lettered, and everything should be done by them by the 15th, so that when the campaign ends on the 25th, we can immediately start doing what we need to do to get into order fulfillment and wait for the money to drop from Kickstarter so we can afford to do the print run and order all of the extra things that we're doing. Also, I haven't said this anywhere else, but I have decided that the CHK buttons that I made at the library that I prepped for space that nobody bought, I am going to drop one of those randomly in every physical backers package. So you're going to get a free button. That's going to go out in an update at some point. But as a Substackitarian here, or a Punkstackitarian. That's a 6-syllaber. I'll take it as a Punkstackitarian. You get first dibs on hearing the news. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give everybody a free button, just a 1-inch. It'll have the CHK logo done by either K or one of our 3 cover artists, and it's going to be completely random. I'm going to have the pile, and then I'm just going to grab one and toss it in. So you get free swag just for helping make dreams come true. So how's that for a fun little howdy-do on a Wednesday evening, entering week 3 of the campaign? Anyway, last weekend, I was up at Space. All that to say, I was up at Space. I was tabling next to Alex. And then on the other side of him was Raw Comics, who has also worked with Alex on comics before. So Alex was like in the middle of a creator sandwich of comics that he's been making with people. And it was a lot of fun. My wife went with me. We had a good time just hanging out at the table, talking to people, shaking hands, didn't kiss a single baby. That would have been weird, but definitely shook hands, complimented a lot of people. The biggest response I got was, I would compliment them and they would give me a weird look and then walk away. And so, I didn't compliment everybody, but I complimented a good amount of people. So I had fun, and I made a lot of connections with folks, and I reconnected with a bunch of creators that I've seen at other cons before. And so it feels like I'm starting to build this like circle of creators that I get to talk to and hang out with at cons together. And that's a big old dub. That's a win. So I'll take that. I also got to go to other vendors and say, hey, I got a book and you got a book. You want to do a swapsy-doo? And I had people that were excited and said, hell yes, I do. And so those are what I want to show off from Space is my haul. I also picked up a super sick original page of artwork from my buddy Jake Warrenfeltz. I just don't have it here because it's protected already. So I don't have it with me, but what I do have with me, so I finally got to meet Grant Lankard in person, and he told me about Three Rivers Comic-Con coming in Pittsburgh in June. So I might be looking into that. This is the 10-year for that show. And then I also just got totally, I want to figure out the Choosy Beggar Books, which is, I don't have his name here on any of these covers, which is but why is Matt, come on, Matt Blair, there we go. Matt Blair does his zines Midville High. and I already had one issue. I picked it up at Cincinnati last year, and I was like, "Hey, Midville High, you were at Cincinnati, right?" And he was like, "I was, yeah." And I was like, "I thought so. I have one of your books." So I just started talking to him, and shooting the shit with him, and I was like, "Hey, do you want to do a book swap?" He was like, "Oh man, I would love to. What do you have?" And so I showed him my book. He was like, "This sounds super awesome. Let me give you all of these books." So he gave me all three parts of the Midville Days of Drama, which I'm excited about as a theater kid. So there's part one. There is part two. He was also super nice. It was when my dad came up to the show, which was also fun because he got to see me in action slanging books and talking to people. Um, but my dad also like walked around the floor with me for a bit. And so he started talking to creators. And initially I was like, hey, he doesn't do Comic Cons. He doesn't know that there's like and understood like, hey, I'm going to talk to you for like a minute and then I'm going to keep moving. He just keeps talking because that's who my dad is. But as a former school administrator and principal, he just loved the idea of Midville High. So as my dad continued to talk to Matt, I went down and talked to Grant and then came back and I was like, Dad, he has other people to talk to. We got to go back to the table. But on the way, we stopped at Dark World Comics with an X, and this was a booth that my wife had told me I had to make sure to see. And so I started talking to him. He had like an antique suitcase type thing open. There were like shrunken heads and shriveled skulls and all sorts of not like just like macabre things. And these books about ogres. And I was like, well, this is freaking cool. The Dark World of Fantasy, Dead Man's Bog. Stories, Pencils, Inks by Dunes with a Z. And so Dark World Comics is how you find them. And so I was like, man, do you want to do a book swap? He was like, yeah, absolutely. I would love to. Yeah. And like asked me to sign the book, which was weird. But then he was like, well, how much are you selling your book for? And I told him, and he was like, oh, well, take issues 1 and 2 of my book, and take one of the goblin hands. And I was like, for real? He was like, yeah, take a goblin hand. So I have a haunted goblin hand that I traded a comic for. Which is just one of the coolest things that I can say coming out of space is like, check that out. That's fun, right? Just yeah. So I'm gonna have this if I table again, I'm gonna have this on my table with my purple skull because it's too freaking cool not to. And so shout out to Dark World Comics. And also while I was there, my dad started doing the thing where he was talking to the guy, also named Chris, by the way. And then I started talking to the other two guys that were there. And the one guy was like, here, I'll just give you my book, The World of Tezlon, War of Darkness Saga. We have Dark Elf Designs, #1. So there's that. I'm excited to read about this guy. It's like a sentient mystical ball. But, I was like, this looks freaking awesome and dark and mysterious. That's exciting. So, overall, like being able to do zine swaps and catch up with creators and find out that like I do have friends that are doing cons and stuff, super rad. Super win. So, did all of those things. I also had some people that stopped by my table that were super awesome to talk to. I talked to a horror punk band called Dracmina that I need to get a hold of Dracula to set something up with 5 Star. So if you're going to be at 5 Star Comic Con in Dayton, you may or may not be getting to see Dracmina play live. That's a super top secret thing just for you punk stackatarians or whatever we said the word was. It's off my screen now. He listens. Looks like the Sabres are having a good season. Yeah, they are. And they're playing right now, but they're not doing great tonight against the Islanders. But they have already clinched the playoffs for the first time since 2011. This is my first time, fun fact, as a fan of the team since I've been regularly following, which started in 2012. that I get to see them play in the playoffs. Hyped. I'm so hyped. Anyway, yes, mad crazy love for anybody that recognizes the Sabres. So shout out to you, Ulysses. But as I was working the table and just talking to people, I very quickly realized that I was attracting people of a certain ilk, as it were. It was a very purple and skulls and punk and industrial. I had a metal toolbox or tackle box and like an industrial metal cabinet that I had some prints in and the skull on top of. And that was my setup. And so I was attracting people that also were, and I had my battle jacket on. And so I had a bunch of people come up to me that were talking to me that were just super freaking rad. And one of them, dude's name is Johnny, and he is a mixed media artist. And I was like, Johnny, you've got to be freaking doing, like, this is some of his art. And he was like, man, I am getting into zines. Look at this piece. And like alt comics and stuff. And I do these massive canvases, and I don't know how to cross into doing zines and stuff. I was like, bro, you basically already did, right? Like you've got, it's just a matter of formatting the page right, but you can put your artwork as each piece is a different page and then make a mini zine out of that and just have those, because like this is all just on 8.5 by 11 piece of paper. There is his Instagram if you want to screenshot this and then go back to that later, or just write down the his handle at Johnny Moderation. But like, just super freaking rad artwork. There he is on TikTok. He's got some videos where he like reveals, turns around the canvas or whatever to show his art. Some of them are quite funny. And so he and I vibed immediately and was super happy to make that connection, trying to see if I can't get him lined up with the vendor space at 5 Star as well. It is past Monday, so I need to follow up with him again. And also, this is a zine from someone named Cynthia, who you can find her at www.truehauntings.com, right there. But she had an Edgar Allan Poe like poster satchel bag thing, and I was like, and it was all purple with the black print, and I was like, I dig that bag, like that's freaking rad. She was like, thanks. Edgar Allan Poe is actually like my fifth cousin twice removed by marriage or something. Like it's part of my family's lore that like we're related to Edgar Allan Poe. And I was like, no freaking way. And she was like, yeah, it's been crazy because I didn't care as a kid, and now I'm like, he's so good. And I was like, that's insane. And so we nerded out about that. And then she was like, here's a short story that I made into a zine. And it's literally just like a short story in a zine. How amazing is that? So you can do anything with zines. If you've been looking for an excuse to start one, here it is. Just do it. Make it. So Space was a win. Space was a win. I sold enough stickers and buttons and like 5 comics and my dad wanted to be an angel investor and just give me money. And so if I count that with what I made over the weekend, I brought home more than my table cost. So that's a win. I'm not going to count the money I spent on the hotel or gas or the food while we were there, because that'd be dumb. Tabling conventions is hard. Oh, enjoy the wall for a second. I just don't mind me. But no, it was. I'm glad that I had that experience, because I tabled a convention and I sold my shit, and I found people that were into it and vibed with it, and I made some cool connections, and I got to geek out with people, and I got to do book swaps, and I got to do trinket swaps, and I'm counting all of those things as giant wins. So that's what we're doing. Okay. First up on the table is a So I'm part of Matt Kent's Patreon, and so every month I get a couple postcards from him and then an original painted piece. And so here are the postcards. I have to read this month's Patreon to figure out what is happening here, because there's notes of like aberrant behavioral thought experiment, right A and left B, and left A and right B. And so I got to figure out what I need to know the story. But also, here's the original art piece that I got, which looks like it came from his web series Ne'er Do Well. Or it could just be that he did all new panels for the upcoming Mind Management Reloaded or Redux. Which, by the way, I'm not a blind bag person, but I'm going to do a blind bag for this because there's like insanely hyper, super crazy limited covers that he is hand wrapping in like aluminum foil for the blind bag experience. And I I'm a sucker for what he does that's just different, and so I'm gonna pre-order one of those. So more to come on that in June. Speaking of June, as I open this, part of 5 Star Comic Con, I'm putting together the panel schedule this week, tentatively. We have a team call on Friday, so we'll figure out if other folks have ideas on the panel schedule or if what I come up with is going to be sufficient. So we'll see. But I'm kind of excited about a lot of the panels. I'm going to be involved in 2 of them. One of them is going to be based on AHA. So, surprise, Kay and V and Alex, you're going to be in a panel with me, and we're going to talk about working on a horror anthology. Hope you're okay with that. Okay, thanks. But, hopefully we can drive people to buy the book and maybe do some sort of cool giveaway or something for people that come to that. And then also, the one that I'm like, woo, about, I need that, is I so Tony, Mr. 5 Star, wants to do a artist versus writers panel. And I was like, I don't understand what you're looking for. Like, are you going to ask writers to draw and artists to write and then see who comes up with something? Like, I don't get the panel. And he was like, no, both artists and writers have strong feelings about things. And so that's what this is all about, is just, and so the other programming director, because I'm technically the assistant programming director, or assistant to the programming director. That's an Office reference. But she's going to moderate like a presidential debate, and she's going to have a timer and everything. And I hope I'm not going to alienate people. I was like, I have strong thoughts and feelings, and I don't know that I want to tell them in front of a bunch of industry professionals. But I'm gonna, because Tony was like, yes, you are, and you're gonna be with me. And post-punk Travis Gibb is gonna be part of that panel as well, probably team writer. So if I got Tony and Travis on my team, I don't know, they might disown me too. Anyway, so this is from Brian. This is insane that Brian sent me this, because I backed the digital. This is sick. I backed the digital version of his book, and he was like, well, one of our stretch goals was like sending these challenge coins out to people, and even people that are like back digitally, if you want one, I'll send it to you, no cost. And I was like, bro, I know what shipping costs. You're gonna send it to me for free? Are you insane? And he was like, yeah, maybe. But I was like, well, absolutely, you can send me some stuff. And so first up is a little 1-inch. Come on, camera, focus on it. It's Skull and Crossbone, or Skull and Bones comics, with a skull, and then it's got, you can't tell, but it's got like a knife and a like paintbrush. Oh, maybe that's a pencil. That makes more sense. It's a pencil and a paintbrush behind the skull. I promise that's what it is. And so that's freaking dope, because it's that super red green color. But then also, here's the challenge coin, which is Night Rail Express. And then it's got the actual like train engine, and I'm a sucker for trains, but in the front of the engine is a skull. I'm like, that's dope. So good for one fare. So I can take the Night Rail Express all aboard for something weird. All about it, man. That's cool. That's freaking cool. It's like the third challenge coin I've gotten from a campaign too. Fun that those are taking off and getting popularity and stuff. So there's number one. And then, okay, this one I just got, so that'll go here. So I have a package here from Iron Age Comics. Do not bend. And so, yeah, man, dude, it does sound fun. When Tony explained it to Sarah and I was like, oh man, that sounds like a blast. And also, I don't want to get flogged. And he was like, no, I think like that's exactly, you're on it. That's it. That just sealed it. I was like, dude, I want to be friends with people. And I feel like some of my inside thoughts should remain inside. And I've only told them to like select few people in very safe private spaces. He was like, nope, I need them on a panel. Writers versus artists. You're a writer, you're on Team Writer. I was like, why did I say yes to this? So from Iron Age Comics, I'm excited about this one. John Santana, who is a post-punk in his own rights, was telling me about this book when I had him on my show, Holmes versus Watson, or yeah, Watson versus Holmes. There we go. It's a new, fresh, unique take on, you know, Watson and Holmes, Sherlock Holmes. So, but I was just like, dude, he's like playing the violin on her neck and making her bleed and stuff. Oh man, it's a freaking gorgeous cover. So I had to pick that one up. But there it is, Watson v. Holmes. I don't have time to go through all of these because I've been yapping and I got a lot to get through. I know that they're only inside until you say them louder. But man, even the people that I've talked to are like, dude, I get it. I get it as a writer. I get it. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then it was like, but that's just not how things work. And I'm like, but why? And so those are the thoughts that are gonna become the outside thoughts apparently come June. So buy your tickets now for 5starcomiccon.com is how you find tickets. I don't think you have. I don't think you have read these. Or maybe you have, but they weren't well formed and they weren't as succinct as I said one of them. And Tony legit the Saturday morning was like, and I looked at Sarah and Sarah looked at Tony and then they both looked at me and I was like, see, I told you. And he was like, no, it's going to be great. This is from Joe Schmalk. I'm a fan of Joe's and the books that he makes and the stories that he tells. And so this should come as no surprise. But first up, this is volume 3 of the 7 Years in Darkness. So stretch goal was this super rad purple hollow foil sticker. Got a little bent, but that's okay. And then we also, the trademark stretch goal for a Joe Schmalk book is the metal bookmark. This is now the third one. I like this one the most because it's purple. The first one was red. The second one was nice, like bright neon green. And now this one is third in purple. And so we also unlocked this patch with the headmaster here. That's who this character is. 7 Years in Darkness is basically similar to Harry Potter, where like people go into a school, and I think there's 72 people that go in the first year, and only one magician comes out. Blah, blah, blah. And everybody has different skills and abilities. But here's the cover of the trade for year 3. It's so freaking cool, man. it just, like, I cranked through the first 2 chapters almost immediately. Like, black gutters, very super thin, like, line weight and stuff. And dear diary, you are plenty safe, but you shut up. It's one of the chapter title pages. I had to run them by other, like, strict art writer onlys to see if I was completely crazy. But yeah, so 7 Years in Darkness, Year 3, Joe Schmalk, and it's the digest size. So regular comic, digest size, or smaller. I think it might be bigger than digest. No, this digest size, that's the size of ours. This is the size that Aha is going to be, square bound. Roughly, I think this is thicker than the 70 pages that we have. But, dude, and the matte finish, except for my oily thumbprints. For Midnight Factory, Joe Schmalk, look him up. I also have, what is the book I have upstairs? Hobo Clowns, Hobo with the Shotgun, Clown Hobo, I don't know, Hobo something is another, and he's a cartoonist, so he does the writing and the artwork, and I'm just like, man, that I'm just jealous. So, but yeah, that's Year 3. Actually, I have 1 and 2. Yeah, I do. Here's Year 2. Here's Year 1. See, there's the headmaster on the patch. See? And now Year 3. And I'm a sucker for this type of stuff. Because, so yes, it's got the, like, 1, 2, 3 down here. But if you look, there's 7 symbols on the spine. And each year it progresses down 1. So he's got the full thing planned out. And it's the same on the top and the bottom. So here's 1. Yeah, up here it starts at the bottom. There's 2, 3, so it's working its way up on the top, and it's working its way down on the bottom. That's proper planning. That's good shit. This series is so dope. And I think single issue floppies were available in comic shops of Year 3, but I was like, I know he's running a Kickstarter because I need it in the same exact format so that I can get the spines lined up so it looks amazing on my shelf. Thank you very much, Joe. And sure shit, there it was. And I backed day 1 and got all the extras and the goodies and all the things. The final book here that I just got in, we're hitting 80 pages. Is that what you're saying? Or we're hitting 80 backers? We're past 80 backers. We're past 80%. So it has to be we're hitting 80 pages. When did we get up to 80 pages? No, it's so good that I know our book and the anthology that I'm selling people every chance I get, and coming up with all sorts of ridiculous fun things to do with it. But this is coming from 3 Press Comics, all the way from the Great White North, from my friend from Post-Punk, Adrian Koleric. I got to see, because I follow him on social media, I got to see the process as he was getting this book put together. But this is his latest and greatest, called Todd Laban. He is another cartoonist. Also, Kay, for what it's worth, I would love for Adrian at some point to do a variant cover for us, because his covers are dope. But 3 Press Comics, the business card, screenshot that and save it for future you, because you're going to want to find him and get all of his work. Here's the book card. So he has a German-speaking 2x4 named Toofer in Todd Laban. he did a signing where he, like, took 2x4s and painted the face, and he wears, like, little whitey tighties, and he painted on the whitey tighties And at the book signing, if you bought the book and had him sign it, you got a free twofer. And he was like literally giving people like 2x4s with faces on them. But he only speaks German. It's amazing. I would love to just uh, sit in Adrian's brain for like half a second, and then here is this sick print as well that he's done. He's got a lot of these of like his characters making random food in the kitchen, and it's even funnier because he's Canadian, and so he's sitting in front of like the American flag, red and white stripes, and the bald eagle with the NBA, and oh man, it's good stuff. Making a fish dinner. But yeah, so those are the packages that I got. Super stoked with all of this stuff. I know I mentioned it, but like check out AHA on Kickstarter. It means a lot to both Kay and I as CHK Comics and all of the creators that are involved, that they are finding support and a welcoming high five from indie creators. I was looking earlier and we've got, I should have written down the numbers. Of the 102 pre-launch followers, 44 of them became backers, which is insane. I feel like usually that conversion rate's closer to 20%. So the fact that we converted almost 45% of our pre-launch followers as a numbers person, we're ahead of the curve. So yay us. That means that we hopefully have a product that people believe in, and we're doing something that people can get behind. Because if I learned nothing else at Space, it's that you got to sell yourself. And that because of you and who you are as a creator, people will want to support you and what you're doing. And part of that is how I just keep supporting Adrian. Like, he's just such a cool fucking dude. And like the way that his brain works and comes up with stories. And he's so, I don't know, he's just so down to earth about all of it. So I will just continue to support whatever comics he puts out because, okay, it just so also happens that they're all freaking incredibly good. But oh shoot, there was gonna be, bro, I didn't get the temporary tattoo unless it's in the bag. There's supposed to be a temporary tattoo in here too. I don't know. I'll see. Maybe it is. Whatever. But yeah, he just does really fun stuff and makes really cool books. So all props to Adrian and Joe Schmalk for thinking through even the formatting of his book, the binder, the binding and the spines, and keeping that clean, because I love a good clean shelf display where all of the books display the same. It matters. So Sabres just scored again in the third. All right. 5-3. Suck it, Rangers. Rangers. Speaking of Rangers, we're going to have a ton of Power Rangers at 5-Star Comic Con in Dayton, June 20th and 21st. You should come to Dayton, Ohio at the Dayton Convention Center. Tickets are now available. We have VIP tickets. We have early bird tickets. We have all-day tickets. I'm planning a after party on Saturday that you're going to want to attend. It's free for anybody that has tickets to get into the con, or you're going to be able to buy tickets specifically for the after party. But why would you go to an after party if you didn't go to the event? That's dumb. Don't be dumb. Come to the con, come to the whole con on the weekend, because on Sunday, there's going to be a wrestling show. We're going to have a couple matches. Yours truly is going to be doing the ring announcing, which is kind of living out a lifelong dream since I was like 3 and discovered wrestling. So, and I have news for you about a conversation that I have with somebody about another potential project that I just said yes to, that I had to. And it, like, never underestimate the power of just putting yourself out there. Just be you. Like, just be authentically you. Because much like the convention learnings of, like, if you sell yourself, people are going to want to support you. If you sell yourself and the right people see you, they're going to be like, I need that guy involved in this thing. And then they're going to say, hey, guy or gal or human, I need you to be involved in this thing. And then you're going to be like, me? Yes. Yeah, absolutely. That's too cool to say anything but yes to. I'm saying yes to that. So, like, the doors that have opened because of doing this show and talking about comics and just being passionate about comics and giving a shit, Paul, dude, you continue to be a rock star, dude. They're so good. Let me know what you think, please. I hope that you love them, and that you like them half as much as I do, because then you'll still be loving them. Because they're so good. I can't say enough good. I would love to get you on the show, to just honestly fangirl. Be like, 7 Years in Darkness is so good. It's just so good. Tell them I sent you. I don't know that that means anything to anybody, or if there's even a way to do that, but tell them I sent you, Paul. But yeah, all that to say, and the message that I just kept coming back to and harping on, it's not anything new for any of you punk stackalariats or punk stackatorians or whatever we're calling you, stackalariats. It's nothing new for you or anybody that watches this show, but like, just do your thing, make your thing, uh, enjoy your thing, celebrate your thing, and don't be shy about having a thing. Like, yeah, I love comics. Yes, I do. And I will tell anybody that has half a second about why comics are incredible and a kind of big part of my life, and have been for years and years and years and years and years and years and years, to where now I just have to be making them, and I have to do whatever I can do to help others make them, because the feeling of holding your first comic, or the thing that you made in your hand physically, is the best, and everybody should get to enjoy that moment. So even if it's not comics, if it's just making art, if it's choreographing a dance, if it's skating, if you're a bike rider, if you're a marathon runner, if you're a dancer, a downhill skier, I don't know what your thing is, but like, lean into it and do it, because people are going to see. And even if they don't, who gives a shit? I would be doing this even if no one ever paid attention to my show, to my Substack, to my writing, to my anything. I would still be doing it because I just love doing it. I'm sure, I'll say that. I have started making my own one-page comics. I'm going to call them 45s, because in vinyl, right, you had LPs and then you had 45s, and the 45s, like the singles, like the single song, before singles were a thing with digital era. So harkening back to vinyl, 45s were the singles, and I am making singles now, and I've got one that's done, and I have another one that I have pencils. I'm doing all of them digitally, which is also like totally brand new for me. But I have another one that I just did pencils on tonight, of just an idea of like, I had this idea for a comic. Can I tell it in a single page? And so that's what I'm challenging myself with, is how do I tell this story, or how do I set up this story as a one-page comic? And then at some point, I'll probably collect all the one-page comics and print them into a zine, because I just want to print everything that I have into zines at this point. But yeah, that's the thing that I'm doing, because I just enjoy the process of like learning to do new things. And when I'm done, being able to say like, cool, I just made a comic. And it's because AHA's going on. I haven't shared any of it, and I'm probably not going to share any of it until after AHA's done, so that I can just stay focused social media wise on everything AHA Horror Anthology all the time, because it needs to get funded so we can get these creators into people's hands and into their digital libraries or physical bookshelves or whatever, into their long boxes, and get them in front of people, because we've got some really kick-ass stories. So that is my long and short way of saying that everybody needs to be doing their thing. You go do your thing this week, okay? Make the thing, do the thing. And if you're like, no one's going to care, it's not wordplay. I would love to see whatever your passion is. So show me, at LongBoxPunk here on Substack, on Instagram, on Threads, on Blue Sky. If you want to email me, longboxpunk@gmail.com, and just email me whatever. If it's a picture, if it's a video, if it's a YouTube link, if it's a, I don't know, whatever the hell, just send it to me. And I would love to check it out and celebrate that you did the thing, because I can't celebrate people enough for taking that step and making art and creating just for the sake of creating, because stuff sucks a lot right now. And like, at any day, we might be entering World War III. So what the hell are you waiting for? Do it before World War III starts. If that's what you have to use as like the swift kick in the pants to start moving towards doing the thing, great, do that. If it's as simple as me peer pressuring you all the time to stop dawdling, you're never going to have the perfect moment to start. So you just have to start taking the first step, take the first step and do it, because I'm telling you to do it. You have no other choice but to do it. So, also speaking of doing the thing, for an example, I'm also still taking big swings in 2026. I was talking to an artist friend of mine who does a bunch of like really big building sized murals around my town and in like downtown Cincinnati and different suburbs and stuff. And I was talking to him at my local brewery, and I've gotten to know the bartender as well. And I was just talking to the three of them briefly last weekend. And I was like, hey, what would it look like if we did like a, I don't know, some sort of like a punk flea market art exhibit thing here on the patio? And like, we got a bunch of artists. I was like, you know, a bunch of artists because you work with a bunch of muralists and graffiti artists. So like, tap into your network. I can help coordinate everything because I don't know a ton of local artists. I know a couple. I'm working on knowing more, but like, let's bring them together and just come together and make some art and sell it and celebrate it, and maybe have music or not, whatever, have some food trucks. What would the chances be that we could do that? And we both like looked at the bartender, and she was like, as long as we know the date, okay, yeah, we can do that. And I was like, are you speaking as like you're just hanging out with the guys and you'll check back later? And she was like, no, like that's, yeah, as long as we know the dates and nothing else is going on, okay, that's a win for us. You never know what's going to happen if you don't ask. So just start asking. Now I got to also figure out how the hell to put together an event. In, I think, the last week of June or the first week of July. Yeah, last week of June is what we talked about last weekend. So after 5-star and right before we launched Barricade Brigade, I just decided to put together a brand new thing, craft fair, punk fair, punk art punk. It's workshopping. Clearly, we're still working on it, but that's going to happen because I just was like, this would be cool to do, and I want to do it. I want to see that. I want to meet more artists local to me so that I can get together with them and be inspired. Like, I want that. So let's make that happen. And it was immediate yeses. So take the swings, ask the questions, and do this, and then send it to me and tell me and let me know how it goes. I would love to know. And I would love to root you on, because I will root you on for doing your thing. So I have talked a whole heck of a lot, and I need to go see the last 5 minutes of the Sabres game and make sure that they win. Lots of exciting things, though, happening here at the House of Punk. Thanks for being a part of it. And thanks for tuning in and signing off with the comments, and all being rad for commenting and chatting and giving commentary and all of the things. And know that I appreciate you. I don't take any of this for granted, that I get to do this as well right now as a hobby, but maybe as some sort of full-time gig in the future. That'd be cool. Just make art and encourage people all the time. Hell yes. How do I do that? I'll take that job, please. Anyway, go do what's good for you and make something, because I'm out of here.